I want to ask you about more information that's come out on the British man who is known as Jihadi John, who appears in the Islamic State beheading videos. Mohammed Emwazi has been identified as that man by British security. They say he's a 26-year-old born in Kuwait who moved to the UK as a child and studied computer science at the University of Westminster. The British group Cage said he faced at least 4 years of harassment, detention, deportations, threats, and attempts to recruit him by British security agencies, which prevented him from leading a normal life. Emwazi approached Cage in 2009 after he was detained and interrogated by the British intelligence agency, MI5, on what he called a safari vacation in Tanzania. In 2010, after Emwazi was barred from returning to Kuwait, he wrote, quote, "I had a job waiting for me and marriage to get started, but now I feel like a prisoner, only not in a cage, in London." In 2013, a week after he was barred from Kuwait for a third time, Emwazi left home and ended up in Syria. At a news conference, Cage research director Asim Qureshi spoke about his recollections of Emwazi and compared his case to another British man, Michael Adebolojo, who hacked a soldier to death in London in 2013.
Sorry, it's quite hard because he's such a. I'm really sorry. I think that he was such a beautiful young man. Really, it's hard to imagine the trajectory, but it's not a trajectory that's unfamiliar for us. We've seen Michael Adebolojo, once again somebody that I met, who came to me for help, looking to change the situation in the system. When are we going to finally learn that when we treat people as if they're outsiders, they will inevitably feel like outsiders and they will look for belonging elsewhere?
That's Cage research director Asim Qureshi. Your response to this, Noam Chomsky?
He's right. If you take a look at those who perpetrated the crimes in Charlie Hebdo, they also have a history of oppression, violence. They come from an Algerian background. The horrible French participation in the murderous war in the 90s in Algeria is their immediate background. They live in these harshly repressed areas. And there's much more than that. So you mentioned that information's coming out about so-called Jihadi John. You read the British press, other information is coming out, which we don't pay much attention to. For example, The Guardian had an article a couple of weeks ago about a Yemeni boy, I think it was about 14 or so, who was murdered in a drone strike. And shortly before, they had interviewed him about his history. His parents and family went through them, were murdered in drone strikes. He watched them burned to death. We get upset about beheadings. They get upset about seeing their father burned to death in a drone strike. He said they live in a situation of constant terror, not knowing when the person 10 feet away from you is suddenly going to be blown away. That's their lives. People like those who live in the slums of around Paris, or in this case, a relatively privileged man under pretty harsh repression in England. They also know about that.